Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Saturday, September 7th, 11 p.m. Mountain Time, 2019. The big story, post-tropical cyclone Dorian made landfall in Halifax today, is moving its way up into Canada, approaching 50 degrees north as a Cat 1 hurricane, maximum sustained winds at 90 miles per hour. Hours of power. And that is tonight's first boom. Now, hurricanes like this have been around since 1775. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with CO2. Key message for post-tropical cyclone Dorian has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with CO2. Dorian will continue to have significant impacts on portions of eastern Canada overnight and Sunday, which will be their fun day. Dangerous storm surge impacts are likely in portions of the Gulf of St. Lawrence, southwestern Newfoundland, and eastern Nova Scotia. Hurricane force winds are still occurring in Nova Scotia and are forecast to occur in Newfoundland overnight. Refer to information from the Canadian Hurricane Center for more information on these hazards, as they will be more accurate than anything coming from the U.S. Severe storm brings flash flooding to South Metro Denver, hail in the foothills, mudslides along I-70. A lot of people are talking about the mudslides, and partially submerged on Yosemite Street south of C-470. Wow. A severe storm has caused hail to pile up on Floyd Hill and prompted a mudslide at the top of Clear Creek Canyon. And the road got closed for a while, but they were allowed to pass initially. We have the footage.
They're going. Oh yeah, they're like going over rocks.
Yeah. Well, I know this is insane. We're gonna have to go over rocks to get past this.
Oh my god!
If that car went over them.
It's totally insane. It's like rocks. Oh my god!
Look at all this rock on the side.
Oh my god, they're like the size of marbles. Are we gonna die?
Go fast and slow, right? So we don't have a chance.
Let's go fast and slow so that we'll nail it. Like, we'll get it right no matter what speed we go.
Okay, will you hold this? Will you hold this in video?
Oh my goodness.
No wonder those people signed on the green.
my
Oh
goodness.
my god, these rocks are like bigger than my
See this in front of you?
finger. Oh my god.
Oh man.
I don't know if we're gonna make it. This rain and these
Those are some
pebbles,
big rocks.
I mean, it's like devastating. Can you imagine when those people actually are in a dire situation, what would happen? Upcoming storm cycle includes thunder, rain, cooler temps, and high mountain snow. And that's a ho, ho, ho. The summer weather pattern has been broken across Montana as a series of storms will affect the state through this weekend and most of next week. Wet weather, cooler temps, thunderstorms, frost, and freezing temperatures, including high mountain snow, brings a ho, ho, ho and glacier building to Montana. And so it begins. The first snow of the season falls in Grand County. And this is in Colorado, where there is also has been reported on massive snowpack that still exists. Winter Park Friday wasn't exactly a powdery day in the Grand Canyon, but the first snowfall of the season hit some of the peaks along the Continental Divide, which is burying snow that hasn't melted yet. And that is called glaciation, folks. Stay tuned for glaciation. Now a post-tropical cyclone Dorian makes landfall in Nova Scotia, and this prick is pretending to be blown away in North Carolina, so we won't even play him. Dorian has left the United States, but it's still causing trouble. The post-tropical cyclone made landfall near Sambo Creek in Nova Scotia, Canada, 7:15 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time on Saturday, as we predicted. Exactly 7 hours after I launched the video, which I said it would make landfall in 6 to 8 hours, it made landfall. Can you imagine that? And just, I think 7 days prior, I said that this hurricane was going to hit Nova Scotia. And in fact, 11 days before that, I shared the fact that this hurricane pattern may match the 1940 Nova Scotia hurricane, which it did. Can you believe that historical data, solar science, and predictability is predictable? Can you believe that? If you actually do your homework and you learn the science, you learn the classical climatology, the historical climate, the historical patterns based on the sun, that you can make a prediction like I did. Can you imagine that? It's unimaginable. The Hurricane Center transitioned the storm from hurricane to post-tropical cyclone earlier on Saturday. The loss of its hurricane status refers to the fact that it no longer has a warm core. It is spread apart, and yet it's still obliterating shores with 90-mile-an-hour winds. It's no longer considered a hurricane because it doesn't have an eye wall, but it's still a shitstorm. Yeah, deal with it. Unfortunately. Oh, we just had her lined up and we just screwed an amazing video. It's not just Dorian. Here's what else we're watching in the Atlantic. We're watching Gabriel, which is going to meet Dorian, and the two are going to combine, and they're going to pummel the UK in just a few days, and a few other systems that are not really lining up to do much of anything.
Well, the humanitarian crisis in the Bahamas is growing increasingly dire. Almost a week after Hurricane Dorian made landfall, the death toll now stands at 43. It's expected to rise significantly. Food, water, and other supplies are rapidly running out. More than 1,000 people evacuated from the Caribbean nation arrived on a cruise ship in Florida today. Errol Barnett reports on the recovery effort from Grand Bahama.
It was a 3-hour wait for fuel this morning at one of the few working gas stations on Grand Bahama Island.
That's what we've been doing since Dorian left the Bahamas.
CBS News also witnessed long lines outside Freeport banks and grocery stores.
So where are you trying to get to?
All the way to East End, McLeanstown.
All right.
It seems everybody needs some form of help. Seeing that we were heading east to the hardest hit areas, Leroy Glinton asked if he could hitch a ride. His home, he tells us, is barely standing.
How long do you think it will take to rebuild?
A couple of years.
Take a long time.
Yeah.
In Freetown, we saw homes demolished. In High Rock, named for being the highest point on the island, all town services obliterated. And outside this cemetery, a casket lay in the Caribbean sun.
The whole town is wiped out.
Marcia Russell Grant, who evacuated ahead of the storm, is trying to get home.
What do you expect to see?
I expect to see total devastation, but we see some walls of our house still up, so we're hoping that there's something we can salvage.
We then came across this Equinor oil complex, also battered by the hurricane.
This is the Stat Oil facility. You can see domes on these structures, and on those structures, the domes were completely removed by Hurricane Dorian. Oil all around us, and the smell is pungent.
In a statement to CBS News, Equinor Oil says it is safeguarding the environment and has not identified any oil on beaches and has not observed leakage of oil from its terminal to the sea.
Now, a security official here checked our press credentials and said we're free to walk around inside, but that we do so at our own risk. The widespread contamination is evident, and it's just one more aspect of recovery for the Bahamian government to address. Rena?
Errol Barnett in Grand Bahama. Thank you, Errol.
I can't even shut this down. It's sickening me. Holy sh! So I wanted to show you that to show you the compromising situation that's occurring out there in the Bahamas. Think about that. Hundreds of thousands of gallons of crude oil have been blasted into that pristine tropical environment, and the response is nil. Nobody's coming out there to help these people. It's sunny skies days later, and everyone's like, wait a minute, we can't get out there to help these people. They're dying. There's no way we can help them as this biological catastrophe ensues with the oil emanating out of the blah, blah, blah. And it's all contained. Everyone's safe, and we're not bringing any water or food to any of the people. Good luck. Yeah, not just Dorian. What else we're watching in the Atlantic? Nothing is happening. These two storms, Gabriel and Dorian, are going to move to the UK, and everything else is going to fizzle out. So all you alarmists, you can suck it, because we have facts here. In Bahamas, battered residents ask, where is the government? The oil fields are leaking, and we're all polluted, and we don't have any water or electric. Ha! They're not coming. Hey, Marsh Harbor, you're fluxed. This is one of the many testimonies to what's going to unfold in your life starting now. happening right now in the Bahamas. It's going to take years for them to rebuild. In fact, it's taking them days with the weather clear to get water up here. They're not allowing people to come up here. It seems on purpose. Maybe it is. It's your call. Can you imagine the insurance industry? Because there are thousands of people insured here, scrambling to save their companies because their companies are now bankrupt because they have to pay out all these claims. At some point, it's going to end. The whole insurance scam will end, and you'll realize the real lies that is your life. And the fake society where the elites eat children and rape kids and everything's fine. It's all fine, Johnny. Predictions say it's going to be the most brutal winter. Here are vacation ideas to plan accordingly for the most brutal winter, where your 401k is going to tank and your family may be left in the dark, but you're going to make vacation plans. What the are they talking about? Ever since 1792, we've been raping children, and the elites and the Farmer's Almanac have been releasing the date. What, did you know that Ben Franklin died from syphilis from having sex with whores? Wait a minute. Let's talk about more weather. We've got Dorian and Gabriel meeting each other and heading over to the UK. That can't be a good day. Heads up. Double whammy UK weather forecast, Hurricane Dorian and Tropical Storm Gabriel to batter the Britain with 70-mile-per-hour winds and 2 inches of rain. It's insane. I talked to the Queen Mother directly, and she said you're totally fluxed. Now, heads up. This is coming directly from the sun, which is probably the least. Anyway, Hurricane Dorian and Tropical Storm Gabriel is set to batter Britain with hefty 70-mile-per-hour winds, which are actually reported in kilometers here, but to know a miss, 2 inches of rain, which is usually reported in millimeters, no one will miss it. Temperatures are set to plunge in the UK as they freeze and everything dies and it's all over. You're totally battered by rain and winds tomorrow and the weekend, and it's a break. Glasgow to Dublin, it's a loss. Temperatures are set to plunge in the UK, where red light warnings and the skiffies and the dusters and other things will be set out. Oh, wait a minute, it's about freezing. Okay. No plowing needed. It's going to rain as usual, and thus and such. Okay. All right, I get it. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Rare weather event over Antarctica driving Australia's hot, dry outlook. It's called the sudden stratospheric warming. The SSW has been unheard of. We've never heard of it, except it happens every solar minimum during spring. I'm sorry if you had headphones on. A rare event that took place 30 kilometers above the South Pole last week is expected to impact Australia's rain outlook. Now, what they come to fearmonger you with is this map. They said, look, the last time SSW was this bad was the last solar minimum, well, actually 2 solar minimums ago, and it left the whole country in a drought. No, it didn't. The regions in blue are highest ever recorded. So it looks like maybe 1/3 of the country is the highest ever recorded, and 2/3 are in drought. So this is the most record drought in Australia? Okay, good job. Snow reported through September 23rd in eastern Canada, Alberta, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, Montana, Idaho. Is that Oregon? Utah, southern Colorado? I know these are just models. I mean, they're just models. They're not real. But let's just play the model through. It's mathematical. It's 99.9% spinning thing. There's actually nothing coming up here. All right, let's do this. Well, I don't even get it. Thank you, powers that be. Seismic update. We're lighting up here. We got a big red dot here. Indian Ocean, triple junction. Oceans spreading. Mid-ocean ridges, meaning the planet is enlarging. Mid-ocean ridge, planet enlarging. 5.3. Mid-ocean ridge, planet spreading. 5.4. Mid-ocean ridge, planet spreading. 4.7 up in Longyearbyen. This is where the climate douchebags got stuck in the ice. Boom! Maybe they set off a bomb. Who knows? I'm so sick of it. It's all fraud. Everything you read, the exact opposite is true. Worldwide Volcano News Update. Yeah, because we're not going to get to this. I don't even know what's going on over there at Levi's site. Tropical Schmidbits. Worldwide Volcano News Update. Popo, Ducono, Sangay API, Nevados de Chilan, Aso, Sabancaya. Like your Maya. Ducono puffing to 6,000 feet. But we're just about to get to the right puff. I hope I got that. Oh my God. Is this live? What I'm smoking here is all natural herbs for my lung health. These are all extremely medicinal and approved by the FDA. Worldwide governments approve these. In fact, they mandate you pay for them probably with your taxes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take some of this government-mandated strawberry blonde COPD medication, and I'm going to put it into the inhaler here, where I'm going to heat it to the recommended 245 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to decarboxylize the THCA to THC through the decarboxylation process, releasing all the cannabidiol, CBG, CBD. Oh, it's fantastic. I feel better already. No quakes of note. It's just not possible. Cassini's mission to Saturn discovers something astonishingly. Now, we covered this yesterday. It's so astonishingly that it's unexplainable due to Newton and all those other foggy dodgers from 1765 and 1812 and 1632 and 1545, which leads me to pause. Listen to me. Let's just listen together. In the last 80 years, all the technological advances have occurred. I mean, we've gotten computers, we've gotten mini computers, we've gotten big computers, we've gotten smartphones, we've gotten cell phones, I got a phone that has like 480 billion gigatons of information. We got cameras like this. You could buy this right now on the internet for like $200. It's like 59 megapixels. It like flips open. It's digital. It does crazy shit. It has video. It has a camera. It has a TV on it. I mean, and you just put it in your pocket. And you're like filming cops everywhere. But it's just not possible that we don't understand something about the cosmos. I mean, like, let's stick our foot in the asses of the masses, because this so-called consensus of scientists are such charlatans. They're such pussyfoot pricks that they can't, they have to toe a line. They can't go out on a limb and say anything off the cuff unless they're deep into physics or plasma physics, especially these days. We have some breakthroughs recently coming out from Ben Davidson. He's been reporting on it pretty regularly over at Suspicious Observers. If you watch that daily update, you're going to see that the physics community are kind of pissed. They're like sick of it. They're sick of the fact that they have to continue to lie to get funding and this bullshit. So they're like, fuck it. Let's actually report on what we're finding. How about we do that? How about we can we just do some science? Hello? Hey, shut up, Al. Get in your hole. I mean, I thought we shut him up a month ago, but Al's still in his hole because 80% of the population, they're indoctrinated. And can you imagine what it would take to undo 3 decades of nonsense information of you burning up and you're all going to go underwater when none of that is true? In fact, it's reversing at such a rapid rate that there's almost no way they can keep up the lie. That's why physics is rapidly accelerating towards electric universe, because those pricks want to save their ass. They want to start from the top, cosmology, and say, wait, no, it's not global warming. It's the universe. It's the Milky Way. It's the galaxy. It's the thing that just blasted off in the center that's about to fuck us all right up in them. But I digress. Yeah, we discovered another astonishing thing. Ha! Hey, Steve came back. Hey, Steve, pack it. Anyway, Steve is back, and he's not Aurora Borealis. No. Sky watchers are still sorting out all the things they saw during the last weekend's Labor Day geomagnetic storm, because just a year and 2 years ago, the entire media was fear-mongering that we would never see Aurora or any northern lights ever again. Yet we see a new one. There's a new type of northern light. So not only do we have Aurora, but now we have Steve, and Steve is coming up fatter and thicker than ever. It's like the biggest Steve I ever wanted to meet. I think I love Steve. Look how thick and fat he is and long. Holy Steve. Sky watchers are sorting out all the things they saw during the last weekend's Labor Day geomagnetic storm, including the porn star Steve. Yes. Upon further review, not every light in the sky was Aurora Borealis. In fact, some were porn star Steve. Look at the mauve-colored plume that Steve emits, deep and thick, straight into the stratosphere, says Alan Dyer, who almost ejaculated during the picture he took at Saskatchewan Summer Star Party August 31st. Most people had already succumbed to the app. Well, you can imagine. With the size of Steve, you have to take a nap. Some people said we saw Steve too, and we didn't even get an STD because we used protection for 2 nights in a row in our area in Western Canada. Most people use protection, and Steve did not infect the public, but it was infectious. The strong thermal emission velocity enhancement, which we know as Steve, looks like an aurora, but is not. In fact, it is a sexual complexity of cosmic proportions that are perplexing the masses. Yes, a quagmire of conceptual complexities unlike anything ever seen, except look at the size of Steve. Yeah, that's like 1,100 miles. Hundreds, if not thousands of foot thick. Penetrating out of our atmosphere into the thermosphere, into the ionosphere, into space. Steve penetrates almost 2,200 kilometers right up into the universe. I don't think anyone's got anything to say about Steve. I might need a nap. We are born creative geniuses, and the education system dumbs us down. If you're not homeschooling, you're dumb schooling, according to NASA scientists. I can't believe this is the first time this has come out. Our natural creative genius has been stifled. 90%. And let's look at the facts. Let's run it down. Downtown Leroy Brown. Now, NASA contacted Dr. George Land and Beth Jarmon to develop a highly specialized test that would give them the means to effectively measure the creative potential of NASA's rocket scientists and engineers, because they needed some. Now, the test turned out to be very successful for NASA's purposes. But the scientists were left with a few questions. Where does creativity come from? Does it come from the bum-bum? Yeah. Does it come from genetics or experience? That's the basic premise. The scientists gave the test to 1,600 children between the ages of 4 and 5, and what they found was absolutely astonishing. Children between the ages of 4 and 5 before they enter the public school system or the indoctrination mill. Yeah. The percentage of the children that took the test fell in the genius category of imagination at 98%. Yeah. Silent boom before a real one. That's actually a pop. But it's like a pop boom. But it's not the real story. Here it gets interesting. The real story is here. Scientists were so astonished that they decided to make a longitudinal study, which goes out laterally from the base point, which is like Jesus, who's coming to save me. When kids were tested at 15 years, the figure dropped to 12%. Five years, when the children were tested at 9 years old, only 30% were geniuses. When they were 15 years old, 12% geniuses. And when they got out of high school, 2%. That's it. AP English. I'm a platypus. Get your children out of the public school system. Teach them yourself. You will do a better job than the indoctrination system. Look, I know. By 8th grade, I had learned everything in high school ever had to offer me. And they kept me there for 5 more years. They made me go through all the shit I already know, like geometry. And I learned algebra before I got to algebra. 4 years prior. So I'm like sitting there like Mary Greeley's channel, crickets. Hello? No wonder I punched everybody in the face. It's a disgrace. If you want your children to be 98% dumber than they are when they're 5 years old, send them to public school, based on fact. Now, here's some more facts. MIT Media Lab director steps down over financial ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And I delved into this. This Asian pedophile, children raping prick can suck it. Joikyo Ito stepped down after he accepted millions of dollars from a child rapist that has a child rapist factory on an island that did not get destroyed by Hurricane Dorian. And it's still 100% intact. So keep your eyes on that island because we have satellite and this prick is still alive and he's probably going there right now to find his underwear and other shit that he left there. Hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing. Plant a seed. It's fall. Join us Monday morning, afternoon, with Matt Powers, Hours of Powers, while we launch his Kickstarter to teach you how to grow soil. Because once you learn how to grow soil, everything else is a blessing. Abundance. Every day you wake up, you should feel free. You should have unlimited possibility. Yet, the majority of you have to go to that shithole that you hate and pretend you like everybody. Start to think of a different plan, a way out. It's possible. Trust me. I started with nothing 10 years ago. I was a hole. And I owed people thousands of dollars. Today, I don't owe anybody any money. The only person I owe anything is myself. I owe myself the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to give back to those people that are still stuck in hell. I mean, you're stuck like Chuck. We love each and every one of you. 14 years ago, I was homeless living in a tent on a river. Be safe.